Good morning, everybody. I feel much more better. Other than having one of the toughest jobs, one of the other things that I do, I'm an adventurer, I'm a long-distance runner, and I'm also a mountaineer. So Tiki, yesterday, as we were listening to all the lessons and what was shared, the youngest team in our member, Ellen Smith, decided that we're going to change our message. And our message is similar to what the lady from Denel was sharing this morning. So what are the lessons from mountain climbing that we can align to a shared value concept? It's a journey of 1,000 steps. And I've summited the Mount Kilimanjaro, which is not far from this region. And last year, I had an opportunity to summit one of the biggest mountains in Europe, Mount Elbrus in Russia. It's in the border of Georgia. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We may be very intentional and have the positive outlook to what shared value is, but the reality actually is different. And when I learned from first day on this mountain was that the terrain is different. And also it's much more harder. When you look at Mount Elbrus, I need to go forward. Okay. When you look at Mount Elbrus, it's sitting right at the center of 100 mountains and 100 hills around it. So once you can see the summit, it's not that easy just to get to the top. There are other mountains and other hills that we learned quickly we needed to get to. That picture in the middle, that's me. I was already trailing behind because this was a different terrain for me. I was climbing with seasoned climbers, Iron Men. Being just a girl from Soweto, I thought this was going to be easy. Mount Elbrus said, no, this is a different terrain altogether. The following day, we were already stepping on ice. And it takes taking one step back and understanding what are the different techniques, how do you gear yourself up differently as compared to Mount Kilimanjaro. Whilst Kilimanjaro gave us a sense that we have summited, we're a responsible business, we do all the right things. We had an opportunity to spend time with Professor the other day where we were bragging about, we do financial education, responsible investment, we incorporate ESGs, we look after our customers. And the question was, is that it? Does that talk to you being a shared value? Do you really understand what are the real issues that you need to take? And also, in Mount Elbrus, we understood it's a different terrain, and how do you wear a totally different gear? The third day, it's about keeping the vision in line. This mountain is vast, it's huge. You can actually see the summit. But here's the thing about mountain climbing. It is littered with crevices. Sometimes you step on ice, you think it's hard ice, it's actually soft ice. And people have found themselves falling on the mountain. And this is where shared value says to us, whilst you think you are winning, whilst we think there's huge opportunities because, as Professor says, it's about scale. Most of us are looking at that opportunity, how we can grow our profits much more quicker. The mountain says, you need to take your time. Actually, it's about pole pole. People in this region will understand. It's one step, and you breathe. Pole pole. Another step, you breathe. Pole pole. In fact, you can't just say there's a summit, or then you run to get to the summit quickly. You take one step at a time. You zigzag as you go up and up. That's what we learned. It's a discipline of how you pace yourself as you see those opportunities, because it's very easy to fall. And the weather changes very quickly on the mountain. This was on the day where I found myself still trailing behind, and I got lost because in the middle of the climb, the weather changed. The clouds was more darker, and I didn't know even how to find my way. But if you understand what is the purpose, if you understand what the direction is, what it's going to take, you just keep going, even though it is darker. Shared value, as it was shared earlier on, it might cost you as a company. It might cost you your profitability. But does it mean you have to stop just because it is that harder? When stakes are that high, you need to train differently. We are now training for actually the summit. We're using different tools. Where you see me falling on the ice, we were taught how you fall and arrest yourself by using an ice axe. How we chain each other using a rope to make sure that should one of us miss a step and fall, we make sure that we pull them up. We heard yesterday the challenges of Africa. The corruption, the high level of indebtedness, the low economic issues that we are facing. Does it mean only one person needs to win and the rest of us are falling off the mountain? The moment of truth, this was a day when we were actually going for our summit. 3 a.m. in the morning, minus 24 degrees, very cold. You have to make a decision to get out of the cabin and still go and face those very hard elements. Shared value says those difficult decisions that you have to make as an organization is about profit first, is it about people first, but is it about our customers and the society? There's only one way up to the mountain, ladies and gentlemen. There comes a time where it's very steep, you have to stick to the line and the rules and follow on the pole. Shared value says to us, we can't say we are comfortable today. We had so many organizations already saying they are shared value. The journey for us is Old Mutual. This is actually where we are, making our way up and understanding how hard it is going to take. But what it takes, as it was shared earlier on, is the courage, is the guts, is the understanding of how we are all aligned, the buy-in, the leadership, and how important it is to stay and put your direction in one place. Normally when I run Comrades Marathon, 90 kilometers, I would run a kilometer in 5 minutes or 4.5 and 30 seconds. Towards the summit of this mountain, less than a kilometer, it took us 2 hours just to do a kilometer because it was that harder. It was that cold. The air was that thin. After 5 days of climbing, we were much more exhausted. We were that tired. And if you can see, this is where the roping came even much more important. Understanding, working with precision, staying in line, and making sure that you don't fall off the mountain. Some of you would have followed Sari Kumalo, one of the first African black women to summit Mount Everest, the highest mountain on earth. On their way down, 2 of the people that she climbed with have not been found. They died. So the issue of shared value are that serious because people can lose their jobs. We've had that. CEOs lose their jobs, and once they lose their jobs, they take a whole lot of people along with them. It's that serious. It's not about PR. It's about doing the right things with the right technique. Most importantly, you get to the summit of this mountain. I was one of the people who got there first. Despite the fact that I battled earlier on, towards the end I was much more stronger because I was the slowest. And there I found myself being the one who was pulling people to actually get to the top of the mountain. 3 things about mountain climbing and shared value. Prepare yourself. Number 2, being in a space where you understand accountability for self and others. And most importantly, it's not how you start, it's how you're going to finish. And here's our story as Old Mutual, which we like to play in our video.
As part of Africa, we're giving its people the great future it deserves with an investment partner like no other, you. That's why we've invested 120 billion rands of our money and yours into creating more than just hope for this beautiful continent we call home. We're sustaining our soil and enriching lives. We're giving our children a brighter tomorrow. We're investing in small businesses to grow the economy. And we're bringing warmth and light to the people who need it most. And by investing in our planet, we're passing this all on to future generations too. Great things are possible when we invest together. That's why we're invested in changing Africa's tomorrow.
Here's the thing, shared value is asking us to ask ourselves that critical questions. Are these the only things that make us claim the fame? or do we need to do more? And as Old Mutual, we understand, Professor, we still have to do more. Thank you very much.